The goal of this workshop is to help you deal with the revolution that is taking place in how your colleagues and clients read what you write. They don't. Their web reading habits, first observed in 1997, have been carried over to their document reading and writing habits. Remember, we're not talking about academic writing or the academic world. In today's fast-paced, digitally oriented workplace, your readers are skimmers and scanners, idea pickers and info grazers. Why? Because life today is lived increasingly online. Consequently, the way we read and write have changed drastically. Another Nielsen study found that users read only 20 to 28% of words on any web page. Today's U.S. workers spend an astonishing 6.3 hours a day just checking their email, short bursts of info that they scan and skim. Millennials are addicted to this type of reading and writing. The Pew Research Center studied the impact of technology on office workers. They found life on the job means life online. And that leads us to the first way the Internet has changed the way we should write. Out of necessity, we've returned to humankind's oldest form of literacy, visual literacy, the ability to interpret, use, and create images to advance thinking, decision-making, communication, and learning. And that's why in today's business documents, you find a new world of visual devices for breaking up the page into easily discernible, easily scannable bits, sometimes called chunks by cognitive psychologists. If you want to excel today, you must begin to master the visual gadgets of this new literacy. The term new literacy was coined in 2005 by the New Media Consortium in its report entitled A Global Imperative. They called it Writing for the Digital Age, which includes posting on social media platforms, texting, writing for presentations, tweeting, blogging, and so on. Here are the top 5 rules for this new literacy. Rule number 1, keep it short. Remember, hurried readers will be skimming and scanning what you write. Bill Gates coined the phrase business at the speed of thought. The title tells you everything. The speed of business and business communication have increased exponentially along with the speed at which data are now being created. Today, we produce 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every 24 hours. Reducing the amount of text in a document is one way we deal with these 2.5 quintillion bytes coming at us every day. Here's another. Rule number 2, bluff it. BLUF stands for bottom line up front. Today, few of us have the time or patience to dig through a paragraph to find the point. But here's another reason to shorten it and to bluff it. The dominance of mobile devices. In 2016, for the first time, mobile devices surpassed traditional computers in how users access the Internet. In 2018, the forecast is that mobile devices will account for 73% of all Internet consumption, a number that is expected to increase as the years go by. So what? Mobile devices have smaller screens, that's what. You must keep it short and bluff it so that your document passes the top of the screen test. The reader should be able to get the document's purpose without scrolling. According to 38 mobile marketing statistics, in 2016, 51% of digital advertising was mobile. By 2019, mobile will consume 72% of all U.S. digital ad spending. Follow the money, as they say. Increasingly, your writing will be read on a mobile device. The message must be short and the bottom line up front. Rule number 3, be careful. Today, the world sees what you write forever. Anonymity is dead. Every word, every keystroke in the workplace is permanently stored and forever associated with you. Additionally, you can expect what you write to be read by many more people than you originally sent it to, people you don't know and would never dream of. So before publishing anything, ask yourself, what would this sound like if read out loud in a courtroom in front of a judge? That's how careful you must be. Rule number 4, Spelling and grammar count more than ever. Sophisticated spelling, grammar, and style checkers are ubiquitous today, and many are free. Some, like Grammarly, can be installed on your web browser so that everything you write, from emails to Facebook posts, are proofread automatically. Misspellings are no longer endearing. They can change your life and your career forever. Rule number 5, make it visual. This is perhaps the most important rule. As readers demand a decrease in the amount of text, graphics must be used to communicate information once conveyed in words. Today, it's not enough to be a document writer. You must also be a document designer. Research has shown that the brains of millennials who have lived digital lives since birth have been rewired. The more anyone is immersed in digital technology, the more their brains are rewired to function optimally. According to one of the latest studies from MIT, today's optimized brain can process entire images in as fast as 13 milliseconds. Compare that to the 100 milliseconds found in older studies. Our brains have undergone a digital upgrade. So, it should come as no surprise that entire companies have been built around tools that help the writer turn text documents into today's popular infographics. Now, these are not business documents per se, but they do show you how far the new visual literacy has advanced. Infographics are data-rich, information-rich documents where text plays a supporting role at best. The company Infomapping.com has been around the longest. Based on research begun in 1965 by Harvard and Columbia professor Robert Horn, Infomapping uses a combination of outlining, bullet lists, and tables to translate traditional text documents into visual documents that can be skimmed and scanned. Horn's research documented up to a 40% increase in retention, a 60% increase in speed, and an 80% increase in compliance to the document's instructions. How does infomapping work? Let's examine it through the lens of visual space, visual progression, and visual differentiation, visual SPD. First, visual space. Note how negative space or white space is being used to divide the document into 5 different sections. Each section is set off by a horizontal line. Each section has its own heading in the left column. Each section or chunk looks different, unlike the paragraphs of a traditional document that all look the same. Now let's examine visual progression. This is the use of lists, tables, and indentation to put page elements in a visual series, which makes the information more visually accessible, memorable, and retrievable. Last is visual differentiation. This is the use of background color, font style, type size, type color, to help make the elements or the chunks of the document more visually distinct. The overall result is a new kind of business document, one that provides a visual map to the information it contains, one that shows at a glance the hierarchy of the information, what are main points, what are the supporting details, and finally, a document that makes it much easier and quicker to access the information initially and refine it later. In other words, the kind of document we need today. What does the future hold? Well, if past is prologue, today's free and subscription web tools like Canva, Vinage, PictoChart, Easily, Tableau, Visme, and more will further reduce the amount of text by employing visual design in the place of traditional paragraphing in order to take advantage of how the human brain has been rewired in the digital age. Let's try to bring this together with a set of guidelines for creating the contemporary business document. First, know that it's more than okay for your document to resemble an outline rather than a wall of paragraphs. The paragraph is quickly losing ground as the primary building block of business documents. Second, write text as if you're writing bullets. In other words, use fewer words, not more. Keep sentences short. Remember, there's an 80% chance that what you write will be read on the small real estate of a mobile device's screen. Third, whenever possible, convert paragraphs into lists and tables. Doing so will force you to use fewer paragraphs and, consequently, less text. If you have to use them, keep paragraphs short. Gone are the days of the 8 to 12 line paragraph. We're mobile now. Paragraphs longer than a few lines will fill the mobile screen with a word salad that nobody hungers for. Create document sections with headings. Use these headings to signal or signpost each main point. Divide your document with all the headings you think you need, then add 10% more. You'll almost be there. And remember, who's your audience? Skimmers, scanners, idea pickers, and info grazers. Put items of key information in their own chunk. A chunk can be any kind of section containing a distinct point. Today's readers scan for chunks and avoid paragraphs, which require word-for-word reading and decoding, which takes time. Finally, design chunks to stand out visually. Think in terms of tables, lists, colored type, white space, bullets, icons. Try to make your chunks as visually distinct as possible. All of this adds up to one very important point. Today, you no longer write a business document. You design it. Why? Because today, people remember 80% of what they see and only 20% of what they read. Because today, you aren't just a business writer, you're a visual communicator.